So I was able to trade for a last resort Umbreon. Just so happened it was shiny and was kind of a nice kicker. I can't remember the exact IVs on it. They're nothing spectacular, but not terrible either. So I'll take it. Um, oh, we can do it. It's a little. We're already starting the nightmare part of things. I just got a response, but we're gonna go into the nightmare part of things. Okay, yeah, so the Last Resort Umbreon was a really big part of my arsenal. I used it a lot. It was really good, and Last Resort was really a necessity to make it good. I was very fortunate to come across a big group on Gradon Day, and was able to find somebody that had one and was able to have what they needed for a trade. Shadow Ball Hypno was able to acquire one of those as well. It was very good to have. I didn't end up using it as much as I expected to, but was still good to have there. Practiced really well with it, and was a threat just being there on the team. I very heavily liked the Alolan Raichu. The DPS output of it was absolutely fantastic. Toxicroak was the number one fighting type in this cup. And just knowing it was the number one type, I actually opted to only bring one of them. If I was going to run a fighting type, I wanted it to be Toxicroak. So that's what I went with. Drapion was an excellent dark type. It had good neutral battles. It spammed charge moves like crazy, which I really enjoyed. And the big star of the tournament was Murkrow, which started as what everybody saw here on stream as a bit of a fun thing to do and to test it out and see what it was like. But it turns out that Murkrow Mania hit the East Coast, and it was an effective Pokemon out here. Just under half the teams actually showed up with the Murkrow in their lineup ready to go, just because of the effect that it was having. And I was going to keep on using it. I was really, really happy with it, and we're going to be able to see why here. We're going to jump into the first match, but my first opponent here was my good friend who came out to a tournament for the first time, Cornstarch Queen. And this is their team against mine that we were running. She had the Shiftry, the Raticate, Xatu, Raichu, Toxicroak, and Hitmonchan. Ike Master, what's this month's breakthrough box? The breakthrough box is still the same as the ones that have been going on. There's Ho-Oh and Lugia, I know, but they're the same ones that have been from the last month. They haven't changed yet. Anyway, you can see Cornstarch Queen's team here. And you can see what I started to lead with. Initially, I kind of thought that Toxicroak basically beats 4 out of 6 here, and Murkrow had pretty good matchups against 4 out of 6. And Umbreon was just a great cleanup, tanky, can really finish off what's left over type of Pokemon. So that's the lineup that I started to go with. And we're going to see exactly how that worked out. If we just go up ahead to here, we'll see how the battle goes. So as you can see at the start, I did lead with Toxicroak. Almost a little bit of glitchiness there, but it wasn't too bad. Obviously don't want to be in against Xatu there, so go right for the neutral switch. And that's how I was really playing Murkrow as well. It was a great safe switch. It countered a lot of things with good neutral battles, so it kind of didn't really matter too much about what you're up against, minus a couple of things, but you could basically do really good damage against whatever they had. That was a really good switch there actually on Cornstarch Queen, because I should have used Airlace, and she brought in Hitmonchan, and I was using Foul Play at the time. So that was really good, but Murkrow still, look how much damage it did there to Hitmonchan and Xatu. And she had the advantage for the switch because she got the good lead on there. Toxicroak is strong enough again to take over Hitmonchan. There was so little life on it, so Counter's going to take it out. And when she's got the Raticate left over here, I'm feeling pretty darn good because we all know that that's double weak to the fighting types, and that Counter is just going to kind of tear a hole through it. So I was feeling pretty good at that point. Got the charge move ready to go. The last Pokemon, even with the shield left over there, going right for the big move with Xatu. But I know I'm still sitting with Umbreon in the back, which will have no problem. I even go for the switch anyway. In tournament play, you really don't want to leave anything to chance at all. You never really know what's going to happen. So when I have the opportunity to make a play that increases my chances, I'm going to go for it regardless. So I switched to Umbreon there, even though it didn't really matter that much. I still wanted to make sure. And that's where we start off the Nightmare Cup 1-0 in the first round here. If we go ahead to, in the video, to here, you can see the team that I went with for the second round. I felt pretty good with Toxicroak, but I was pretty positive that she was going to try to change her lineup to counter the Toxicroak. So I just decided to change things up a little bit. This was basically the core 4 Mons that I was using for the entirety of all my Nightmare Cups. Toxicroak, Murkrow, Umbreon, and then the Alolan Raichu. I did change it up a little bit. I think you got to try to keep people on their toes and be a little unpredictable, but you should still go with what works for you. And this is what worked for me in practice. I felt like this lineup was going to be strong, so I decided to roll for it for game number 2. Again, this is an opponent that has the first time in a tournament, so all the credit goes to her for even being there to compete in the first place, because it's not easy going up against good opponents, especially in your first tournament there. So second round, feeling strong with Alolan Raichu for the lead. Again, Shiftry is an absolutely terrible situation, though. So I'm going to switch out pretty quickly. Luckily, I've got Murkrow. And that's a really good thing. It tears through Shiftry, no problem. I know I can invest a shield into that if I need to, and it's still going to tear through it and store energy. Even when she switches, again, it's got good neutral matchups. So it's already done a lot of damage to Shiftry, and it got energy stored, gets a shield off, is still going to do a lot of damage to Toxicroak before it goes down. Just does work quickly when used properly. With so little life left on there, I can easily invest a shield into Raichu to take out the Toxicroak there. And I'm already ahead in this battle. Energy stored on Raichu is always a good thing. You can shield bait so easily with Thunder Punch. Here I am going for the Thunder Punch, just pretty confident I'm going to get a shield off of it. Which I don't, actually. I guess she's going to save it for her last Mon. But even then, that's still a good thing. Because I've saved energy. It's the last Raichu. Okay. Again, feeling pretty strong here. I know I have Umbreon in the back. And with a shield there, this is going to be pretty much GG. Yeah, still, again, go for the switch to save the Pokemon in the back. When you see an opening, you take it, go for it, right? And then an Umbreon's just going to go ahead and do its thing. It can tank one Thunder Punch and a Wild Charge pretty easily. Probably 2 of them. I can't remember. It's been a little bit since I actually played a Nightmare battle, but I had the shield left over anyway, and Foul Play is going to do its job here. No problem. And GG's. So a good first matchup. Always feels good to get that first win under your belt to start off a tournament like that, because usually everybody's got their jitters going. So I was feeling pretty good at that point. Round number 2 was up against my good friend and supporter, Mystic Sparkle. Of course, right? Because it seems like every single tournament that comes up lately, I go up against a one Mystic Sparkle. So, if I go ahead and switch the team here, we can see Mystic Sparkle's team that she brought into this tournament. Shiftry, we got Gardevoir, which I was pretty happy to see. Previously in tournaments, I had only seen it the once when I brought it into Twilight, so it's just cool to see another Pokemon come out like that. That's a little, like, anti-meta. The Confusion users were really big. It deleted Toxicroak super quick, and people are starting to catch on to that a little bit, I think, now. Alolan Raichu, Xatu, Toxicroak, and Umbreon. During practice, I was able to find out that Umbreon does have Last Resort, so I'm feeling pretty strong, at least being able to counter that with my own. Again, I'm going to go with what works here. The Raichu, again, Murkrow, I feel like is a pretty strong Mon to have there. It's going to do work at least against Umbreon to check it at least a little bit. It does good against 4 of the other Pokemon there. Keep it away from Raichu is my strategy, which is why I wasn't leading with it. It was going to be my safe switch if I needed it. Otherwise, Raichu seemed like a pretty safe lead for me here. We go ahead to here. And we'll see how the first battle played out. Raichu leads against... I've been pretty sure every single time it happens I say it, but I can't stand mirror matches off the start. We've played these mirror matches multiple times. We've been able to do the charge move priority switches on each other. And it's just like, it's a toss-up to see which way it's going to go, who's going to flinch first, who's going to change into what first. That was actually a pretty good swap right there, knowing that the charge move was coming next and that Umbreon could at least tank it. But she is a good enough player, and I do know that she's going to go ahead and switch away from her Raichu because it's an unfavorable situation there. Now, I did get a small energy advantage out of that, but I'm still not ahead in this matchup right now. Again, cannot stand mirror matches, especially to start off the battles. Ugh. Last Resort's being traded off here. Tanky Mons, we know how these battles go. They're a battle of attrition. They're a little slow, but just going for the best move possible. We trade back and forth. I know that makes for the most exciting stream possible. And snuck off one more Last Resort at the end there. Look how little life is left on the Umbreon. It's funny seeing the camera shake there. You can see the little picture. And it got the shield out too. That was really good. And it goes down. Her Umbreon's still able to farm a little bit of extra. Couldn't quite get to the foul play. You can see I'm trying to click to it there. But at least I feel like with the shield left over, Murkrow can take something from Umbreon and still survive, but I still want to invest a shield onto it with as much life as possible. It should be able to put it down pretty quickly, but I'm going to have to absorb a charge move from it anyway. Last Resort does pretty good damage. Obviously, Murkrow is glassy, but it survives and has energy stored over, and now there's no shields left over. So I go right for the Dark move on the Raichu. This is going to be a super big hit, knowing that the Raichu is left over. Puts it right out. Go ahead, 1-0. Oh, no, sorry, the Toxicroak's left over. That's okay, because Raichu's a pretty good matchup there, too. Ugh, Mud Bomb. Is an ouchie, yeah. And it puts down Raichu, yeah. So ever since regionals, I've held Mystic Sparkle in a whole, like, other era. You can't, like, underestimate her at all. Does a very, very good job cleaning up that first match. If we go on to match number 2, which is up ahead here. I have to change things up, obviously, because the Raichu I really didn't like to work out. So I'm going to go with Toxicroak. Again, going with the Mons that I feel that works, and try that out. Again, keeping Murkrow in here. Murkrow, again, I just felt like had such good matchups for most teams, so I decided to roll with it. Stay going. Okay. So lead with Toxicroak. Into Shiftry. Favorable lead. That's a good thing. I will take that. Get the switch right away. I get ready for the counter switch. And again, I can go right to Murkrow, which can do work on Xatu. No problem investing shields on Murkrow in this point either. Basically knowing if I'm coming into a favorable situation, I am going to be investing shields on it. I felt pretty confident I could farm a little bit of extra energy there. Always a big thing to come in with a little bit of extra if you can, because it can pay off later on. Got a shield out. Went ahead and used the second shield. Again, I know I have a little bit of energy stored, but it's doing pretty good work here anyway. We both go down at the same time. These are hilarious when they happen, because it's a matter of who's going to flinch first. You really need to wait down to the last second and kind of guess, but that's pretty funny. And we both go for Toxicroak, and I get a Mud Bomb off first. We're going to see a Mud Bomb happen. Oh, but the shield comes off. There's a later situation I'm going to want to show about Mud Bombs with Toxicroak, since it's a really good example of how IVs actually matter. I couldn't remember if one got off there, but that's okay. Switch to the Shiftry. Shiftry doing good work here. It's really interesting to see how this plays out. I haven't actually watched over a lot of the video too much. It's mostly like my first go at it to see how the battles worked out. Umbreon goes down, but it's okay because I got Toxicroak. It gets just enough energy left over with no shields left out. I can't believe I came out with that battle. That was an intense matchup right there. Jeez. And puts down Toxic. See, he didn't even survive the Mud Bomb right there. Keep note of that, how that Toxicroak survived that Mud Bomb. It still took one extra counter. That was an insanely close matchup. That was basically within a couple of counters of going the other way and Mystic Sparkle taking me out there, which would have completely changed the whole tournament. But instead we get to go to a rubber match. That's good for me. That was so close, Mystic. Yeah, that was insanely close. I can't believe that.
That was fun to watch.
It was awesome, right? Yeah. My buddy Sam here, Shrife's, just commenting on that too. That was pretty exciting to watch. Again, I'm just watching over for the most part for the first time, so it's kind of cool to get that initial reaction on that battle. Let's go to match number 3 though. If we skip ahead to right up here, where I selected my team. And I go back to the Raichu. Again, when I brought in the Raichu for the first bit, I felt like it was going to be the best matchup. I feel like she's not going to lead with the Shiftry again. So I'm going to go ahead and switch Miley to try to counter that. But Murkrow and Umbreon, still top performers for me. Still feel confident in the performance. So I'm going to keep rolling with them. I made it a point of strategy that I didn't want to mess with my team too much. I felt like I did that a little bit too much in Kingdom Cup. And this one I wanted to stick with what was best. So what's my highest CP Pokemon? I will keep that in mind. If you stick around, actually, I will show that at the end of the Nightmare Cup review here. The highest CP Pokemon. I will show that just for you there, OMG Valor. But this is match number 3 and round number 2 of the Nightmare Cup that just happened on the last the weekend. It was my weighted Nightmare Cup. We go to here we go. So start off with the Raichu. She does not lead with the Raichu. I'm okay with that. This is like, okay, I'm in a good spot here. I didn't want to see the mirror match again. It didn't work out for me the first time, so that's really one thing I didn't want to see. I'm okay to play out this matchup a little bit. I know we can trade shields and kind of work each other down, but the DPS output of Raichu is really, really strong here. I didn't feel bad with Raichu dealing with Toxicroak, knowing if Murkrow's in the back, it can deal with whatever's left over. Got a shield out of the Wild Charge. That was a good shield on there. It would have done pretty big damage. So this time I'm going for the Thunder Punch just instead, and it's still enough to put down Toxicroak. I don't know if she expected possibly to live there, but it's just cool with it letting it go. But Raichu just building up that energy so fast. Was ready to switch there, but Raichu's good. I knew I can get to a charge move, and Raichu's good against Zatsu. So that was pretty nice to be able to get at least the shield off. And I didn't want to waste the switch advantage. I wanted to keep it, so it was good to even let it go. And probably, I did invest the shield in knowing that the charge move was ready. Yeah, just pounding away at the charge move right there with that little bit of a, yeah, it was ready to go. It actually already hit it too. Yeah, a little bit of a risk there. I didn't know that at the time, that it was ready to go. But that was a huge advantage. Now that she's got 2 Mons down, Gardevoir is pretty glassy. I've got Umbreon and Murkrow, which are good counters to it. She went for a risky move there at the end. Probably expected me to have the Toxicroak in there, but it just didn't quite work out. Fortunately for me. She would have had to invest at least a Shadow Ball to take out Murkrow, and even then I had Umbreon left over. That was a really good game. So one of my better matchups for sure. Thank you very much, Mystic Sparkle, for that one. Always good matchups, you know. So round number 2 goes our way. Pretty happy about that. Match number 3 goes up against another good friend, Skilled AF, which was this team right here, actually. Where we go here to... right up to here. So Skilled AF with the Hypno, there's Muck, Drapion, representing a Murkrow right there, which I think is pretty darn cool. Alolan Raichu and Toxicroak. I know that the Toxicroak is good against the dark types. I know it gets checked by Murkrow, but can still do good damage. And if I bring in my own and kind of avoid it, might be able to make a positive matchup out of that. And Toxicroak being able to check Toxicroak as well here. So I go ahead and try to lead with Toxicroak. Didn't feel too strong with the Raichu lead to start off with here. Just felt like there was kind of a lot weak to it. Its best advantage is probably going against, obviously, the Murkrow, but didn't really feel like he was going to lead with it. Otherwise, it'd be the Toxicroak. So that's why I started this one off with. If we go ahead to right here, we will see the start of match number 1 against Skilled AF, leading with a Toxicroak against Muck. Now, we find out pretty quickly here that Skilled AF is running a Bite Muck. You can see the bite marks up at top here. It's not really showing my cursor, but you can see them right on top of Toxicroak's head there. That's the little bit of bite marks. That's how you know what move is happening. Poison Jab would look very different there. So I still felt good knowing that this is the matchup that I was looking for, but I'm not 100% sure on what moves he's running at this point. Ready for a counter switch as always. I like to get that ready. He went right to Murkrow. I tried to get a switch. A message goes off. I can't quite get the switch down pat when I wanted to. I know Toxicroak is low on health there. Murkrow versus Murkrow. At least it's a mirror match and I had the health advantage. Yeah, he's got the little bit of energy there, but I can just invest the 1 shield and store my own energy. So again, Murkrow doing its own work against itself. It's because of the shiny power, I imagine, though. We all know it does more damage as a shiny, right? Totally. Jolpek's going to draw out the shield and still get a little bit of extra damage before it's going to go down. No problem. Don't have to invest the shield onto, and it's an acid spray too, so that's good that it went on Murkrow and it went down. I got Mudbrom ready on Toxicroak, ready to go, which is excellent. Puts down the Muck. I got shield advantage. There's 1 Mon left here. But it's an Umbreon. So here you can see at least the difference of having like a full, ready to go Umbreon and how close this battle is going to be. It can tank a Mud Bomb. I felt good about that. I'm going to get to a last resort, I believe, here. That got to 1 last resort. Look how low my health is getting. And counter is just chunking it away like crazy. It does a good amount. It doesn't quite get it all the way down. I'm able to shield because I saved it right for the very end. And then just enough to put it down with that little bit of health left. Just insanely close battle there. Oh my gosh. The skill level of all the players in the Professor's Finest and the Halifax area here is just like going through the roof. So it just seems like all the battles get so darn close. And I've been very fortunate to have wins against Skilled AF in ranked matches. But he's a good player, and I know he's got my number coming up at some point. So I wasn't feeling, even at this point, insanely confident about how it was going. We're going to go to match number 2. That's very odd. I have a star beside this matchup and some writings. Why would I do such a thing like that? Oh my gosh. Okay, folks. So, I'm just going to set this one up a little bit. We were outdoors. There was a lot of people around. We were entertaining people. There were other ones that were really paying attention to the live stream and really liked what was going on with it because I was live streaming this at the time. And I was distracted for this battle. And we're going to see why. Exactly. I change up my lineup. I go Raichu, Toxicroak, Umbreon. But really the starting lineup out of this is a footnote to how this matchup turns out. And I'm going to also say that I am ashamed of how this worked out, and I can't believe I still did well in this tournament after this display. Let us see. So again, we know that the Muck has Bite. I haven't gone up against too many of them, so I tried to at least store up to 1 charge move first, try to force out a shield, get some extra damage, and get the switch on that play. Not too bad of a start. Not great, not terrible, but, you know, I'll take it to start off with. He does the opposite switch and goes right to Murkrow. That's what I like to do, so that's very well played. For some reason, I go for Sludge Bomb, hoping he's not going to shield it, and maybe I can just get like a really big hit on it right there, but obviously not the case, and I wasted energy. It's going to go ahead and put down Toxicroak. There's no reason to use a shield here, because it's going to go right down and do nothing afterwards, right? So no shield. Obviously, go right back to Raichu, because it's good against Murkrow. I get enough to farm up some energy. Still sitting pretty in this battle. Able to get off a wild charge of all things to go for big damage here. Feeling pretty good having the shields left over on my tanky Pokemon. Emptied out the shields on the opposing player. This feels like not a terrible situation right now. He goes ahead and uses his charge move. I'm thinking probably Acid Spray. No reason to shield Acid Spray. You should never shield Acid Spray, right? It does nothing, is what I say. He actually switches out the Muck there. It was alive. If you can see, both Pokeballs are left over there too. I thought it had gone down, but I was wrong. I was wrong. So here we are. He uses counters all the way up until the point where I just about got my charge move off there. And then he uses his charge move. I have 2 shields left over here. And I don't use one. And I die with 2 shields. Not even making an attempt there. I was pretty sure I was going to lose the battle. That's what I was thinking at the time. But I was heavily distracted. And I do not feel good watching this video afterwards. So we're going to move on from this one. And say that when you're in a tournament setting, try to stay focused. Otherwise, bad things can happen. I can remember hearing back on it. I even acknowledged that I went down with 2 shields, and I can't believe that happened in a tournament. But that happened, and that's terrible. Don't let that happen to you, folks. Ever. Pay attention, okay? This was not today. This was the past Saturday in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. Anyway, we're going to go to match number 3 now that we have to go to a rubber match. Which is at this portion. And anybody that wants to see the full video of how the Dartmouth Nightmare Cup happened, it is on the YouTube channel. If you search up the Professor's Finest, exactly as it's written right down here on the logo, just type that in, you'll see that logo pop up. You can click on the channel and see videos from the stream, other streams that I've done. You should go ahead and check it out. Subscribe. I would appreciate it. Thank you very much. If you want to go ahead and do that, that'd be pretty cool. Anyway, we're going to match number 3. I felt pretty strong again with the Mons that I picked with. I just need to play better in this one. So I'm going to go ahead and go with the Toxicroak, again, Murkrow, and Umbreon. I'm pretty sure I played Umbreon in every single matchup at this point, and it was performing really well for me, and I didn't want to divert from that. So I'm going to keep that going. I'll head to where the match starts here. Like so. So Toxicroak leads. It's against his Murkrow. I feel okay about this, but not exactly great. A lot of times when I'm faced with these situations, I like to kind of pull a little bit of a combo play so I don't have to invest all of one Pokemon into one of his opposing. I can kind of split it up a bit and maybe get a little bit of an advantage. So I switch to the Murkrow, forcing him to switch, knowing that I'm probably going to be in a good safe switch situation as long as it's not the Raichu. Which it wasn't. Bite, again, situational move. It's not doing an insane amount of damage against Murkrow, but Murkrow's kind of doing its work here against Muck. Even another charge move. He doesn't want to invest both the shields on Muck, so I get the advantage of dropping a Drill Peck on there. And look at that, it's able to take out the Muck. Now I'm feeling pretty good about this battle. I've invested that much. I can do tiny little bit of damage to the Toxicroak. I can counter with my own Toxicroak, which had energy stored. So that's a good thing there. I get the Mud Bomb off. Now I'm ahead on energy against his the same mirror match, and I know Umbreon is a really good closer for me here. And his fighting type, hopefully, will be closed out of this or out of this. I got the shields. This time I'm not messing up. I'm using the shield. I'm not dying with 2 shields. Knowing that Mud Bomb was ready to go with that little bit of life left. Such a close battle right there. And because I was able to get that Mud Bomb, we go into his Murkrow, which has the tiny little bit of life left, and I've got a full Umbreon with the shield sitting back, ready to go. And that's how that match is going to close out. And I'm going to take round number 3 to go up 3-0. If I didn't play so badly in the second game, I would have been ahead a little bit earlier. But that's not to take away from how Skill AF plays. That wouldn't be fair, because he's also a good player. But the situation kept popping up. We were like, that's a situation where I don't shield. I don't need to do that. So I didn't shield, and then it just came down to... It's funny the way it worked out sometimes. Stop making excuses. I was distracted. It was terrible. We go to round 4, and round 4 is against the regional champion, Chafe, who always does well and is always a tough opponent, just like the rest of the Professor's Finest. So we're going to go to Chafe's team here. We see the Hitmonchan, the Claydol, Murkrow again being represented here, which I had not practiced against him with. He didn't show that against me. He's got Spiritomb, which I hadn't faced yet. Drapion was a nice little mix there. I hadn't played against the Claydol yet either, so this is a pretty different team for me to go up against. We're going to go ahead to the video. To where the battle selection is. Right here. Right here. Yeah, the Raichu, the Murkrow, and the Umbreon. I did have a little bit of test battles against a couple other friends where they were using a Claydol, and I know that my Murkrow matched up well against it. So I knew that would at least be able to check it. And otherwise, I thought Murkrow did pretty good against this team. So I've been riding Murkrow this whole tournament. I'm going to keep rolling with it at this point. It seems like a pretty safe bet, but I'm a little unsure. I did face Murkrow once already, but there's another one there. I feel like I can try to take advantage here. Match number 1, starting with Raichu, starts at here, and we'll see how this plays out. Never feeling easy when I go into these matches. At this point, it's the championship match. I'm happy to get not a terrible lead. I feel like I do terrible at leads a lot of times. I'm sure we all do, really, but Chaith gets a good switch there. Oh, he didn't switch. Sorry, I thought I saw a switch on there. No, he lets it go on him there. I can go ahead and use a shield. Obviously, he's trying to get the shield advantage. And Raichu, I can't remember. Is it just enough? I was getting nervous that a Mud Bomb was coming, so I went ahead and just went ahead for Thunder Punch instead of trying to kill it with the fast moves. But I did get nervous. Ready to switch right away, though. Decided not to because Raichu was pretty close to down. I was able to get at least one charge move off and just not give up the switch advantage there. Got a switch glitch, which was terrible. I can't stand when that happens. But at least got the option pretty quickly as to take it away. And Murkrow can tank an Ominous Wind, no problem. Now, it's going to do work here. Another Ominous Wind. Oof. It goes off so fast. I know I need to preserve the health on Murkrow. It's ever so precious on that tiny little thing. But it can do damage. We know this now. I don't really have a whole lot of things to deal with Spiritomb, so I'm kind of hoping to make the most of that situation. He's got his Murkrow sitting back. Ugh. Mystic Sparkle subscribes. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Ding-a-ling-a-ling, we got a new subscribe. Thank you so much. Are the Pokemon I'm using 100% IV? They are not. You do not want to be using, for the most part, you don't want to be using 100% IV Pokemon in PvP. There's a stat distribution that you're looking for. Umbreon's able to have enough health to take on Murkrow, and then just enough to get to Foul Play first for the Spiritomb left over. Again, using that kind of combo switch where I don't have to go just one-on-one and then one-on-one when they switch. I try to divvy it up sometimes to try to spare out the health and maybe absorb 1 or 2 charge moves in between. So that battle was really up and down a little bit, but I was able to kind of pull it out and come up with a win. So that's good that I go 1-0. I need that when I go up against Chase. Otherwise, I just feel in the hole and discouraged. Match number 2. We go to here, where I'm bringing the Raichu, and again, sticking with my 2 anchors. I like having Murkrow in that one spot to switch to. I like having Umbreon in that one spot there. I just instinctively know it's going to be there, so that's what I went with. It goes to... right here, when the match starts. So it's the Raichu versus the Claydol. At this point, I don't know what moves he's running on it, but I'm suspecting... we had talked a little bit about Earth Power and how it just came out. I'm suspecting he's probably got Earth Power going there. Again, not 100% sure. Made the mistake of actually trying to get the charge move off on Claydol. But I did take note of that. It's okay to make... You really don't want to do it in tournaments, but it's okay to do it once. I wanted to at least preserve health on Raichu, knowing I was going to be able to switch out. I go into the Murkrow to try to do what I can. And he's keeping the Claydol in here. I believe I try to tank it, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I am able to take it. But he switches right away, which is terrible for me. Just drinking a soda, that's all. The opposing Murkrow. Oh, I hated going against the opposing Murkrow. But at least I got Raichu with some energy stored. Now, he does have a shield left over there. So he's able to block it. I'm going to be able to trade it. Again, this is the matchup that I want to get into. It's the best way to deal with the Murkrow. Again, just kind of felt like a charge move was coming, so I went for my own charge move. That was my main idea there. Claydol comes in, so my charge moves are going to do nothing to it. And I want to get to Umbreon as fast as possible to preserve health on Raichu. Umbreon is definitely the right one I want there. Earth Power. And then he's got Toxicroak sitting bat though, which is not good. Last Resort does a good amount of damage here, but it's just, you really need a full health Umbreon. We've already seen this once. You really need that full health Umbreon. So he was able to drain out my shields and then wait to bring in the Toxicroak into a favorable matchup there. And that's why he's going to win this battle. Down goes Umbreon. Raichu's got nothing left. He gets the Mud Bomb. GG there. We go to rubber match because it wouldn't be a championship in a Professor's Finest tournament if it didn't go to a rubber match. Right, folks? So we go ahead to the very last match. I took a little bit of time to decide. I was trying to reanalyze his team and see, like, if I could find a hole that I didn't see before or something, which was, stupid. It wasn't going to happen, really. So I eventually picked with what I felt, again, was working for me the most. I didn't feel like the Toxicroak worked quite as strong for me, and I learned at least a little bit, thinking he might go with the Claydol again, on how to play the Raichu a little bit differently to maybe get an edge. So this is the team I decided to go with. I've been rolling with it most of the tournament. I'm going with what works. It seemed like the right decision, I would say. So into the last match. For the championship. Starting with Raichu, again leads with Claydol. So I know at least that I don't want to be using the charge move this time. I'd be better off storing it and waiting for a different time to use it. It was just wasted on the Claydol. So I switched a little bit earlier this time, again expecting a little bit of a different change, and I didn't go to Murkrow. I wanted him to think it was a little bit different. So I brought out the Toxicroak early, and again I had like a very full Umbreon that can get Last Resorts off with a little bit of charged energy. So even though we basically led the same way, just a little bit of a different way to play it leads to a whole different matchup here. This is even close to the matchup that we had before, even though we had the same leads. Gonna go ahead and let Umbreon take Sludge Bomb. Even gets a little bit more. One foul play left over is huge before it goes down. Just possible to do extra damage or to take a shield out. That's really, really helpful. I can wear down the switch clock a little bit here. I don't because I get too antsy. But Murkrow's good just to wipe out Toxicroak there. Still sitting on shields. Feeling pretty good about it. Now, I am remembering that his Claydol is in the back here. And knowing what I have stored, I know I need the Murkrow, because Raichu's not going to do it. I need the Murkrow to take out Claydol. So I go to switch here right before the charge move comes, and I try to get as much damage as possible with Raichu first. I know I need that Murkrow to take out Claydol if I want to stand a chance here. Invest the shield into Raichu, see what I can do here. At least saved a little bit of health on Murkrow. I'm able to get to that charge move first. Huge. Put down the Drapion. I got the shield sitting there. Claydol's at full health. I'm going to try to go for broke and get a wild charge if I can. Not quite enough. Again, I'm not using the shield on Raichu. I need Murkrow. So I know he's emptied out on energy at least. And we're off to the races here. A Yellow Life Murkrow. I know I'm going to get to at least... I got to use the shield. I just got to get to that foul play. It's so good that I saved the shield there. Earth Power doesn't quite do it, and I get foul play. It's going to be a super effective blow, and Murkrow is going to get the killing blow of the tournament. And that's how it ended, folks. Pretty satisfying to get a killing blow to win a tournament with a Murkrow of all things. I think we all know how derpy that Pokemon is. And it's cool that it just had like this really niche use. But it was truly the MVP for my team. And from the conversations that I had with other people afterwards, it was also for them. So I'm just interested in knowing if anybody else's tournaments out there ended up having any Murkrow mania out there. I didn't really read anything on Reddit about Murkrows becoming prevalent anywhere in particular. But I'm interested in knowing if anybody experienced that. Please comment in the chat. Let me know here. That'd be pretty cool.